Hi there. It's Through the Bible in 1 Year. We are on day 173. And today they just have us reading the last two chapters of Proverbs, not written by Solomon. Solomon died yesterday. Or at this time during our reading, he died. But not well in the last part of his life. He was the wisest man that ever lived, and he was also the richest man. To this date, there has not been anyone on earth that has been richer than King Solomon. Okay? It's interesting, huh? But, like I said, we'll jump over there. And these were put in there. Whoever put the Bible together included these in the Proverbs. And these last two chapters, this one is the words of Agar, son of Jacob, the oracle, the man's oration to Ithiel the new cow. Now, Agar, son of Jacob, may have been a student of Solomon's. He may have been a teacher himself, or he'd been a student. Yeah. But he says some interesting stuff. Okay, I'm very familiar with these chapters. Okay. I am more stupid than any other man, and I lack man's ability to understand. I have not gained wisdom, and I have no knowledge of the Holy One. Who has gone up to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his hands? Who has bound up the waters in a cloak? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And this is interesting. And what is the name of his son? How do you like that? Talking about Jesus in the Old Testament. If you know. Okay, and this first part is interesting. It's just, he knows nothing, okay? And you'll find out you can spend your whole life gaining wisdom and at the end still know nothing, okay? There's no way. A man doesn't have the possibility to know everything, okay? But I like that. What is his name? The name of God. And what is the name of his son? Every word of God is pure. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Don't add to his words, or he will rebuke you, and you will be proved a liar. A lot of people doing that. Two things I ask you. Don't deny them to me before I die. And this is very profound. Okay? Keep falsehood and deceitful words far from me. Okay? Give me neither poverty nor wealth. Feed me with the food I need, otherwise I may have too much and deny you, saying, Who is the Lord? Or I might have nothing and steal, profaning the name of my God. Right? Very wise right there. Don't slander a servant to his master, or he will curse you, and you will become guilty. There is a generation that curses its father and does not bless its mother. Right? There is a generation that is pure in its own eyes, yet is not washed from its filth. He could be talking about today, huh? There is a generation, how haughty its eyes and pretentious it looks. Its looks. There's a generation whose teeth are swords, whose fangs are knives, devouring the oppressed from the land and the needy from among mankind. Yeah. The leech has two daughters, give and give. These three things are never set aside. 4, never say enough. 3, no 4. Sheol or hell, a childless womb, earth, which is never satisfied with water, even though it's covered with water, right? And fire, which never says enough. Right? As for the eye that ridicules a father and despises obedience to a mother, may ravens of the valley pluck it out, and young vultures eat it. Right? It's the 5th commandment. Honor your father and mother. 3 things are beyond me. 4 I can't understand. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship at sea, and the way of a man with a young woman. I always like that part. You see a guy that gets around a pretty girl and they become a different person, right? Suddenly they're tripping over themselves. I always thought that was a funny verse. This is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong. The earth trembles under 3 things it cannot bear up under 4. A servant when he becomes king. A fool when he is stuffed with food. An unloved woman when she marries. And a servant girl when she ousts her queen. That's interesting, huh? Thinking a servant girl would murder the queen and take her husband? I'm sure that happens. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. The ants are not a strong people, yet they store up their food in the summer. Hyraxes are not a mighty people, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. Locusts have no king, yet all of them march in ranks. Interesting, huh? A lizard can be caught in your hand, yet it lives in kings' palaces. Right. It's here. 3 things are stately in their stride, even 4 are stately in their walk. 3, no 4. Right? A lion, which is the mightiest among beasts, and doesn't retreat before anything. A strutting rooster, a goat, and a king at the head of his army. Right. If you have been foolish by exalting yourself, or if you have been scheming, put your hand over your mouth. For the churning of milk produces butter, and the twisting a nose draws blood, and stirring up anger produces strife. These last 2 verses are cool. If you shoot off your mouth, somebody's going to punch you in the mouth. Okay? Okay, now this, Proverbs 31, the words of Lemuel, an oracle that his mother taught him. He was a king. Okay? And the first 9 verses are the words that Lemuel's mother taught him. Very wise woman, I might add. What should I say, my son? What, son of my womb? What, son of my vows? Don't spend your energy on women, or your efforts on those who destroy kings. Solomon did this. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. That'll ruin anybody. It is not for kings of the mule. It is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire beer. Otherwise, they will drink, forget what is decreed, and pervert justice for all the oppressed. Right? Did you know kings and rulers shouldn't drink? It alters your state. But they do, huh? Some of them. Give beer to one who is dying, and wine to one whose life is bitter. Let him drink so that he can forget his poverty and remember his trouble no more. Yeah, the poor people should drink. You got that? A lot of people use those. I like those 2 verses. Speak up for those who have no voice, for the justice of all who are dispossessed. Speak up, judge righteously, and defend the cause of the oppressed and needy. And that's the words that King Lemuel's mother taught him. Now this last part here, praise of a capable wife, this is an old poem. When it was written in here, it was already hundreds of years old. This is a very, very old poem. It's an acrostic poem, which means when it was written in Hebrew, it used each letter of the Hebrew alphabet successively, much like an ABC book would be today. An ABC is an acrostic book, okay, which goes by the letters of the alphabet. It loses all that in translation, okay, but it would be very interesting if you could read Hebrew and you could do this, A is for this, and beta is for this, and delta is for this, gamma is for this kind of thing. But it's still interesting. And it's important, okay, but this is not one wife, okay? This is in general, things wives can do to be praised, okay? And this is the poem. Who could find a capable wife? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will not lack anything good. She rewards him with good, not evil, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax, and works with willing hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from far away. She rises while it is still night and provides food for her household and portions for her female servants. She evaluates a field and buys it. She plants a vineyard with her earnings. She draws on her strength and reveals that her arms are strong. She sees that her profits are good, and her lamp never goes out at night. She extends her hands to the spinning staff, and her hands hold the spindle. Her hands reach out to the poor, and she extends her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of her household when it snows, for all her house are doubly clothed. She makes her own bed coverings. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the city gates, where he sits among the elders of the land. She makes and sells linen garments. She delivers belts to the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she can laugh at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and loving instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the activities of her household and is never idle. Her sons rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Many women are capable, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. Give her the reward of her labor, and let her works praise her at the city gates. Right. Good old poem, huh? Cool. Lots of notes. And there you go. That was the end of Proverbs. We finished reading Proverbs, and we finished a lot of the Bible. What are we doing tomorrow? Well, back to 1 Kings. Okay. And Solomon is dead now, so tomorrow they're going to start the history for the rest of that, and the kingdom's going to be divided. You know, God already said he would leave one of the tribes to Solomon's house. Who knows what happens to Solomon's treasures? Okay. Doesn't say, and people still wonder that today. He had the largest treasure storehouse in the history of the world. But we'll read more about that tomorrow. But today we finished up Proverbs. We do study Proverbs every single morning. I have a morning study that I do. And we do one chapter a day, and it takes a month to go through the whole book of Proverbs. And then the next month we start it again, usually in another translation, so we can get it well rounded out as possible. I want to memorize the Proverbs. You know, it is said in there, if you memorize the Proverbs, if you get wisdom and knowledge and fear the Lord, all other things will be added to you. Everything will come if you only search for God and wisdom. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking up that challenge. So, and if you'd like to help, you could look for the morning show, and they're all there. I mean, we've done it 10 times now, so they're all, and all the videos are there. So, but till tomorrow, we'll start 1 Kings 12 to 14, and we're about halfway through. So we should be halfway through the Bible. I know there's a lot more Old Testament to cover, but we'll get there. Till next time, keep reading. See ya.